All right, just a few minutes left of the South African morning. Let's talk money, and money we actually don't have, it seems. Are you struggling to pay off your debts? Don't worry, you're not alone. It's true for many people in the country, especially after the hardship of lockdowns. Many struggling to even simply meet car repayments. So don't panic, and please, Maya Fisher-French, you're going to tell us, do not ignore your financiers. Don't ignore the bank, and don't ignore whoever you bought the car from. You must speak to them, mustn't you, Maya Fisher-French, about your options if you're struggling to make your repayments?
Like, that's the best possible advice I can give you, to start speaking before you miss payments. Because if you start missing payments, literally you've got 3 months and they repossess the car. But if you start having the conversation early, you can negotiate. And, it depends on the scenario. If it's a short-term situation, you know you're going to get a job quite soon, then they will often defer the payments. They'll say, okay, if you miss a couple of payments, because we're in conversation, we will restructure the loan over a longer period, or you can increase your repayments when you've got your income again. In some cases, they will even take it and add it almost like a balloon payment at the end. Not ideal, but at least you're staying in the car. But obviously, if you've lost your job and there's no hope of you getting another job, then there's a very, very different conversation that starts to have to happen, I suppose.
And just on that, I know we're going to talk about banks and how open they are to negotiations. But before we get to that, what if you have lost your job, there is no chance of income, and you still owe a whack load of money? I mean, how does a bank or a creditor take money from you that you don't have?
So I think it's very important is what I'm speaking to the banks now, and I'm also, this is real life stuff I'm getting from my followers. The banks are definitely more open to negotiations than they were 2 years ago. They recognize COVID as a real thing. So it's not just a delinquent person. This is a real situation that everyone's facing. And I must say, I think there is always a difference a little bit between the banks and the bank-related financiers versus perhaps your what we call captive financiers, your BMWs or Mercedes. They may have a little bit of a different approach. But definitely what we're seeing is kind of, it depends where you are in the repayment situation. So if, for example, you've recently bought a car, maybe you're 6 months in, the bank's not going to turn around and say, no problem, you don't have to pay us, keep the car. I mean, the money they've lent you belongs to depositors. So in that case, you will have to sell the car, and there will be a shortfall. And it's that shortfall that is what I'm seeing. They are open to negotiation. Again, if you come in good faith, you say, listen, this is how much I can settle. I can't settle the full amount. They will, they are open to discussion. And then the bank said to me, if somebody just genuinely can't settle it at all, and even what they can put down as a settlement is just not going to be enough, then we just hold it as a liability against them, so that when they start working again, obviously we will come back and take the money. But a lot of this is about sitting down and finding a solution. And the quicker you sit down, the more transparent you are, the more open you are to the situation, showing them, listen, this is my budget, this is what I've cut, this is what I'm trying to do. The lot more, you're going to have a lot better outcome. And the bank said to me, we want people where possible to keep their cars. So if you're maybe in year 4, year 5, and you have been a regular payer, you've not missed payments, you've been a good customer, then, again, I'm definitely seeing them coming to the table. If you've got an amount that you can settle with, maybe it's not the full amount, they are open to discussion. So again, I know I'm going to have a lot of people after this saying, oh, but Maya, they still took my car. But there's a lot of situations that when I dig a little bit deeper, it's like, what, you didn't contact them. And if legal action has started, it becomes a very difficult conversation, because trust has broken down, A, and B, legal costs have mounted. So again, this is really all about, make the call before you miss the payments.
Yeah, absolutely. Communicate, because believe me, the bank knows where you live, and they can come get that car anytime they want, so they can do it as quickly as they want. But Maya, thank you very much. It's all about don't wait for them to give you a call. Phone them if you know there's going to be a problem. Maya Fisher-French, Maya on Money. Always such good advice. I know it's hard advice, especially if you have to admit you're in that situation, but if you are, just phone the bank.